Data has become the heart of most modern digital businesses. But traditionally, when we think about the personal data a business holds, we only think of names, addresses, dates of birth, and credit card or bank details. However, in the last few years, we've seen an explosion in the amount of data a business now has access to and the ways it can be used. Analysis of when and where customers buy our products and the platforms they use to make their purchases give us the ability to put the customer's wants and needs in the centre of our world. The need to keep this data safe has become more important than ever. The current data protection laws are no longer adequate for the amount of data now available. On the 25th of May 2018, a sweeping new data protection law called the General Data Protection Regulation, or GDPR for short, will come into effect in the UK and across the EU. This will cover every element of Brown, will mean greater obligations and restrictions for us as the custodian of personal information. We will also have more corporate and personal accountability. GDPR is regulated by the Information Commissioner's Office, or ICO. The ICO is an independent authority that has been set up to promote transparency in businesses and other public bodies. One of their main roles is to uphold the data privacy and information rights of individuals. Non-compliance can result in eye-watering fines. This could be either up to €20 million or 4% of annual global turnover, whichever is the highest. And in some circumstances, individuals can also be held personally liable. As a result, we now have to do something slightly differently and in some instances create whole new ways of working. One of the first steps the business is taking is to let key people, like you, know what GDPR is and what you need to do to remain compliant. By watching this video, you're already completing one of your first steps, so pay attention, there's a quiz at the end. This module is going to highlight the remaining 11 steps the business is taking to get us ready for GDPR.
The second step is to review the information we currently hold, where it has come from, and whether we share this information with anyone such as delivery agencies or our pension provider. Remember, GDPR isn't just there to protect customer data, but to make sure that we as a business are processing all our colleague data correctly too.
Step 3 is communicating our privacy information. The GDPR now requires us to review our privacy notices. A privacy notice is a document which lets an individual know who we are and what we intend to use their data for. We're also now required to let the individual know how their data will flow through the business and lastly, how long we'll keep the information for. Don't worry if you're currently using any scripts for customer contacts, these will be automatically updated for you.
The fourth step is individual rights. The rights an individual will have under GDPR have become stronger. Some of the new rights an individual will have include the right to erasure, also known as the right to be forgotten. Now, I know what you're thinking, and this has nothing to do with the 80s pop duo, but more about the individual's right to have their personal data deleted. When it comes to deleting data, there will be clear processes put in place as we need to make sure we are not deleting something we shouldn't. The right to portability. The right to data portability allows individuals to obtain and reuse their personal data for their own purposes across different services. It allows them to move, copy, or transfer personal data easily from one data controller to another. We also need to make sure that this is done in a safe and secure way without affecting its usability.
Step 5 is subject access requests. This is an area where we'll see some of the biggest changes in our procedures. Individuals no longer have to pay to request their data, and the timescales to send their data through to them is reduced from 40 days down to just 1 month.
Step 6. Identifying the lawful basis for personal data. This means, as a business, we need to provide a clear reason as why we need to hold and process personal data. This will be documented in our privacy notices. Our privacy notices will become part of our ongoing process. We need to ensure that our privacy notices stay in line with our business practices as the business and our processes change. Data business owners will become a key role in how we keep on top of this.
Step 7 is consent. This is just one of the lawful bases for processing data. The GDPR has tightened the rules on obtaining consent to process personal data. Consent must be now freely given, specific and unambiguous. The individual also has the right to withdraw their consent at any time. For example, when we're discussing direct marketing, the individual must give a clear yes, We can no longer take a silence for the customer as consent, so as a result, we'll be making changes to all our websites and contact centre scripts.
Step 8 is children. As we do not sell to anyone under the age of 18, the key focus in this area is linked more to colleague personal data, such as healthcare forms.
Step 9 is data breaches. All personal data breaches must now be reported within 72 hours, and in some cases to the regulatory authority, which you may remember is the Information Commissioner's Office. Should you become aware of a data breach, you must report it immediately to our data governance team. But don't worry, we'll provide you with a clear process on how and when you should do this.
Step 10. Data protection by design and data protection impact assessments. The GDPR makes data protection by design a legal requirement. This means that before we roll out a new process, technology, or engage with a new supplier, we must firstly assess the risk. This is done by using a privacy impact assessment, which is a tool used to identify any potential privacy risks.
Step 11 is the Data Protection Officer. Teresa Casey is our Data Protection Officer, and she'll make sure we're adhering to the GDPR and remaining compliant.
Step 12. International. As we are an international business, we need to be aware that GDPR applies to any company that processes the data of any EU citizen, regardless of the country that they are based in, such as our third-party partners in America, South Africa, India, and Ireland.
So that's our 12 steps complete. Click on the button below to start the test. Good luck!